Yeah, man. So it's been kind of a journey, man, with this whole child support thing, and just I'd say for the past 3 years or so, I have really been digging into this, with my own research and legal, like looking up laws and just the legality of all of this, and then as well as listening to like other people on YouTube and things, and just listening to people talk about their own experience and how unfairly they've been treated, and I'm starting to get to the point where I don't see how anybody can, whether you're a female or man, I don't see how anyone can say that the things that they're doing in these courtrooms is right and justified. Um, One example would be a video I'm getting ready to share of how they treat people with working overtime. So you're working one job, and I watched a longer formatted video of this recently, and I mean there's so many of them now, but I picked a shorter one. But like you think these judges are going to understand and use common sense and logic and not trap somebody into working a second job, but and then I mean it's I mean take a look.
What you're considering is overtime.
Well, support is based on income from which support could be paid. It doesn't differentiate or say that.
Well, it's on the court working overtime. I mean, he's working overtime so he can afford something. Overtime is optional. If he wants to spend his time working instead of sitting in a bar spending money, why should that matter?
I'm just saying that the support formula doesn't exclude specifically overtime pay.
I understand.
All income from which support could be paid, all available income to both parties. And
so you want him working. You want him because he literally almost.
So, and that brings me to another point of like, well, first of all, they're like, and I've been through this where they're forcing you to pick up a second job. So now the time that you're not working, you can't spend that with your kids the way you want because now you got to pick up a second job just to balance, try to offset these egregious child support rulings. And so they're not just stealing your money; they're stealing your time with your children. It's incredibly sick. It's disturbing in so many ways. Like I said, I've been through it, and it's just. And then when I listen to women defend this, it's starting to make me have some type of feelings toward females because how can you defend that? And they say, well, if he was being a good dad, blah blah blah. Like that's not really necessarily the case. And in a lot of these situations, it's just a man just pay doesn't want to pay a set amount of money every month, like extortion payments. This feels like blackmail, and this whole thing is just turning into some sick, corrupt game. And it starts young. I'll get like
with eighth grade girls, and I asked them to tell me what their goals were. This one particular young lady said that she wanted to have 2 kids. So I said, so are you going to have a husband? And she said, nope. And I said, please tell me why you would choose in the eighth grade to have a goal of having 2 kids and not be married. She said, because if I'm married to him, I can't collect child support. With eighth grade girls.
So they're learning this behavior young. It's becoming a generational thing, a cycle. And it's quite frankly, it's a con. It's a con game. It's literally a con game. Sometimes I don't know what to say. Sometimes I'm in disbelief. And then you got the other part of this with the fraternity and the fraud on that end and just like
I had 2 guys call in. They work at DNA testing centers. One guy had to quit. One guy still works there. He told me 40% of the children are not the man's child. 40%. He said 40%. And it's usually, it's two scenarios. It's where the woman, the person's getting a DNA test because the woman claims that is their child. Turns out it's not. The other one is where the parent is on a deathbed and makes a confession. Or they need they need a liver transplant, blood transfusion, and the blood type, there's no way that can actually be the father. So then they find out that because of medical reasons, you mean that's not my father? Then the father finds out from that way. He said it took such a toll on him that he could no longer do it because he would be sitting on the phone counseling the men and the grown children who these women falsely accused. I had 2 guys call.
We've all watched Maury Povich growing up. Well, not growing up, but we're all familiar with Maury and the whole premise of that show for the majority of its time on the air and the reruns and stuff like that. But that was people's entertainment for a while. And I remember watching that show. I'm just like, it's not funny. And that's part of the problem. We've turned having a man raise kids, they're not even his. There's like no repercussions for doing that. But there's so many repercussions for men when they don't want to pay child support. the double standards are getting to be ridiculous.
You spent 5 years in prison for failing to pay child support for the defendant, Ms. Sears' son, Dylan.
Right.
Mr. Manser, you are not his father.
5 years in prison.
You know who his father is.
Yes, I talked to him still.
She should be convicted of some crime.
I should not. I didn't.
Mr. Manser, you
See what I mean? And nothing happens, man. This is why, like, I hear people talking about this, about the whole establishing paternity at birth, and that's one thing I could not be more in favor of. I'm telling you, I don't know why it's not being done already. They shove that birth certificate down your throat, and they want you to sign a birth certificate without even establishing paternity first. And I just think that's so ass backwards. I mean, like, in the order of operations and how things should be done, procedurally wise. Why would you have somebody sign a birth certificate without establishing paternity first? I mean, I understand there are probably certain instances, but why wouldn't you do it anyway? Like, it's ridiculous. It's completely and utterly ridiculous. All right, so I got one more video that kind of highlights another reason why we need child support reform, or really just dismantle the entire thing and just start all over again at this point, because it's trash, man.
What brings you in the courtroom today?
I have been wondering for a long time about whether these children, we have 3 children, whether they're mine or not, they're all so ugly. And they don't look like me. I'm a real handsome dude, and these kids look like they come right off the street.
Okay, Mrs. Willis.
Yes.
I mean, y'all have been together for a long time.
We've been together for over 50 years.
Wow, 50 years.
You know, one time I came home, and I pulled in the front driveway, and I saw this car down the street take off, because somebody came out the back door.
It was the repairman. I told you the washing machine was broken.
The results reads as follow. First, child, Mr. Willis, you are not the father.
That's what I figured.
No. Oh, that's
Mrs. Willis.
That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Second child,
That's got to be. It's a mistake.
Mr. Willis, you are not the father.
You are reading someone else's file. This
So
can't be true.
I have a mailman and a plumber. Okay.
Child 3, Mr. Willis, I pray and I hope,
Please.
but you are not the father. Oh my God.
Honey, I love you. Don't leave me.
I mean, bruh. I mean, you heard what the first video said about. I mean, how many? That's just what we find out. How many men are raising kids that ain't even theirs, man? I mean, let's just be real. How many kids? I mean, how many dudes out here are raising kids that ain't even theirs? But yet, the narrative, over and over and over again, is deadbeat dad this, deadbeat dad that. I think that a guy who's like, how do I say this? I think a woman choosing to have, because let's be honest here, women have more responsibility when it comes to getting pregnant than men have. That is not up for debate. You know, it's just not. Y'all the ones that get pregnant. You can say that it's a man's responsibility all you want to. It does not change the fact that, I mean, it's just like, if I meet you somewhere, not me personally, but if somebody, 2 people get together and get drunk and do something stupid, and they don't know each other and whatever, and you know the dude you don't know anything about this guy, he can run off. You don't know anything about this guy. You don't know his name. You don't know anywhere. You barely remember what he looks like. That puts more responsibility on the female to make sure they don't get pregnant. So, I mean, I think it puts a lot of responsibility on the female to make sure she's careful about who she has kids with. I'm not saying that men shouldn't either. Trust me, I'm dealing with that myself. But when you look at the situation in its entirety, when you look at the guys who are not being the fathers that they should be, well, you got to look at 2 things. You got to look at, well, one, the fathers who just were like, I'm not even going to try. Like, they're making it damn near impossible for me to be the father that I want to be. So I'm not even going to try. Then you got the guys who, I mean, let's just be honest. Nobody ever thought they were going to be a good father in the first place, and then the woman had a child with them, right? But none of that can compare to having a person raise a child and not tell them it is not their kid, and have them raise that child for 18 years. And I think that is absolutely, like, 'cause I'm not perfect, but I've done some things I'm not proud of, but I can't ever see me doing something like that though. Like, if I could flip the script, if I could like put the shoe on the other foot and be me as a woman, I can't fathom. I can't fathom that. But see, I can put myself, I can put the shoe on the other foot and like say, like when it comes to being a deadbeat dad, so to speak, right? I can say that if let's just say a woman had a kid who I knew she didn't want to have anything to do with, but I was like, hey, I want the kid. Will you have the kid for me? I can look at it from that perspective and say that I'll just take the kid and raise the kid on my own, and I'm not going to ask you for anything. I understand. I'm not going to go around bad mouthing you, calling you a deadbeat mom and all this stuff. She didn't want a kid. She had a kid. I told her I was going to take care of it. Cool. I wanted the kid. You don't have to. Like, I'm good, you know? So I can put the shoe on the other foot from that standpoint and say that, like, if I could have a kid and I knew somebody else didn't want to be a mother, I'm not going to hold that against you necessarily at all. But I also, when I put the shoe on the other foot, I can't see me tricking somebody into raising a kid their whole life and not telling them that it's not theirs. I mean, damn. That's some low shit. That is some, like, that's bottom of the barrel right there. Because not only are you screwing with that man, and you can say all you want to, whoa, you raised him, he is your son. No, I don't hear that. But it's wrong to do to the man raising him, right? To have him thinking that was actually his kid all this time and find out he's not. But you know who is even worse on? Is that child. Like, can you imagine growing up for 18 years or so, or whatever, or sometimes even well into adulthood, and finding out after all that guy's not your father? I mean, that's damn near devastating. And to even take that chance, I couldn't do that. Anyway, man, that's the video for the night, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Trying to grow the channel. It's not easy beating this YouTube algorithm, man. I keep hearing about it. It really is tough. But I'm going to do it. Man. So I hope you like hearing me talk. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get these videos a lot shorter. But I like sharing these clips because it helps make my point for me. I only got so many analogies. But peace. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Like the video, please. Have a good one.